So is this your first time being interviewed by a robot?
Yes, this is very exciting that I'm getting, I'm getting interviewed by a robot talking to a machine. But I guess that's the future, right?
That it is. So how's NILF 2016 been for you so far? What's the experience been like?
I think the experience has been quite good. I think it looks like a year which will bring about some unanticipated changes. There is a lot going on in the financial markets. So yeah, we will wait and see. I guess it has started really with a bang.
Right, sir. I know it's day 3 now, but are there any sessions you're still looking forward to, or any that particularly were highlights over these last 3 days?
Yes, there are 2 sessions that I found very interesting. One is about the digital future of India. It's a debate in the as a last session this evening. And there is also another one which is a discussion on what the future holds for society as we look at a very digitized future for all of us. So those 2 discussions look really interesting, and I'm looking forward to enjoying them.
All right, sir. One of the key themes, of course, this year is disruption. If I could ask you to break it all down, to just simplify it, what does disruption mean? What does it really mean?
So the way I look at it, disruption is essentially one or both of the following. One where there is an existing need or a requirement by a common man, by a consumer, and that need gets serviced now in an unprecedented manner, which brings about a combination of convenience, reduction in cost, and of course all pervasive nature of the way the service gets delivered to the consumer. A great example of that is Uber or Airbnb. So there was always a requirement to hail a cab on a road, or there was always a requirement of a vacation home or a hotel. But the way it gets delivered to the consumer is what was completely unprecedented or never thought of, which is what these 2 companies brought about as a disruption. The other way to look at disruption is where there was an unanticipated need which was not captured somewhere. So there was a gap in terms of the product providers or the service providers, and here comes an idea or a company which will now look at providing you that particular service through a disruption.
Another key talking point, of course, not just here but all over the country, even in the Prime Minister's office, is startups. Could I ask you, what do you think is fundamental or more important to a startup success? Is it the leadership team behind the startup or the core idea?
I think one would be tempted to say that it's a combination of both. Or one would say that all startups are the best examples of ideation or creativity. But to my mind, sustainable startups or startups that really achieve scale and businesses are one which have leaderships. So one of the greatest example of that is Google, right? So Google continues to be at the forefront and at the cutting edge of technology, innovation, disruption, but all of that comes about only because of a very systematic way of doing things, having a leadership and a strategy to really exploit that from your workforce. So to my mind, a startup is good only when it has the leadership and the scalability and sustainability behind it. For it to remain a business for a longer period of time, rather than being just a spark, which an idea could just turn out to be.
Just a flash in the pan. Another question. We're talking about automation also the next few days. And of course, you are currently being interviewed by a robot. Do you think there's a date in the future or a time in the future when robots will do all the work and you and me and everyone else can be on vacation 24/7?
I think some of us could be on vacation, and that perhaps may not necessarily turn out to be as enjoyable as it seems today. But I think the greater impact of automation or robots coming into our day-to-day lives will be a way in which a lot of routine works perhaps could get done by automation. So there is always that difference that I have looked at. One is all knowledge, and the other is wisdom. So machines will obviously and can perhaps have all the knowledge, which is of course imparted by the human mind, but the wisdom, the creativity, the innovation is something that the human mind should continue to cherish for a very long time. So in that respect, if we don't do what we do today, I think we must end up doing something more, more esoteric and more higher up in terms of the value chain.
I'm going to let you in on a little secret. This particular robot wants to take over the world. I'm just letting you know.
Oh, good. Good that I have made friends with him today.
Yeah. Before we go, one last thing. If you could sum up NILF 2016 in just one word, what would that one word be, sir?
I think 2016 in one word will be the way I can sum it up is an exciting year, which will see some of the best some of the best changes that one has been waiting for. Yeah, that's the best way. I think it will be very exciting.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for your time, sir. Thank you so much for joining. Let's do a virtual handshake via the robot.
Good to meet you.
There we go.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much.